In the last 6 months, I had this business idea that I was trying to flesh out. I was struggling, but I knew I didn't have the answers.
I lean on my family. You know what I mean? Like, so yes, there are all these things and all this stuff, but there's God and there's my family, and this is like my anchor, and then everything else comes out from that.
Defining who we are based on what we do. When we wear multiple hats, it's kind of hard to fit in.
So we have to understand when we find ourselves in positions like, it's like, what am I missing? What is a way of thinking that if I had, it will turn this around? What is an action that will turn this around? Who is a person that if that person was introduced in my life will turn it around?
Welcome to Negotiation Secrets. This is your number one podcast where we talk about everything negotiation, from negotiating your job to negotiating for the life that you want. This podcast is for professional women, but if you're a guy, you can listen. You're welcome to listen. And we have people from different parts of the world, at different stages in their career, come in and then share their experience with us. I'm your host. See, I was going to introduce the guest before myself. That just shows you how excited I am about this episode. But I'm your host, Dr.gloriaesoimeme. I am a negotiation strategist, an internal medicine physician, and today I have with me, I have few mentors. I have few mentors, but this person, legit, she is my mentor. She's someone who is full of wisdom. She's someone you can take her word to the bank. She is Dr. Una. Dr. Una, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for the intro. And I have to take you everywhere I go.
Yes. And Dr. Una, she's a pediatrician by training, but she's evolved from just being a doctor to being, she has multiple businesses. She leads a group of people. I don't know how many, it's a community that she leads daily. She mentors a community of people all over the world daily. Dr. Una, you see, something most people struggle with is, and I'm struggling with that with you right now, is defining who we are based on what we do. When we wear multiple hats, it's kind of hard to fit in. For example, I'm an internal medicine physician, I'm a negotiation strategist, I do real estate, I do so many things, and it's just hard to fit that into one box. So how do you keep your identity even when you're doing so many other things?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first of all, I threw away the box. You know what I mean? Like, who made the
Mm,
box?
who
you
made
you
the
know what I
box?
mean? I just threw it away. And there are a few things I've come to terms with. One is that we have so many areas of life, right? When you hear me teach about it, I talk about the 9 areas of life. And I truly believe that I am designed to excel in all 9 areas. And so if that is true, I am going to have many hats, right? Like I'm gonna have a lot of hats, a lot of things I'm good at, and all of those things. And so I'm okay with it. I don't try to say, how do I make it one thing? It's not one thing, it's many things. However, I also
Yeah.
have priorities. Right. So at the end of the day, my spiritual life is number one. So no matter how many hats I have, that is hat number one. Then my family is next. So again, no matter, I can be if a serial entrepreneur, 17,000 companies, doing all of these things, that's fine. But that is number two. Is my relationship with my family. Number three is the legacy I'm building, the impact I'm having in my world, right? Sometimes the business will interface with that. What I do with my faith stuff will interface, the books I write, all of those things. So in my order of priority, I have all these 9 areas of my life. I plan to win in all
You
nine.
talked about 9 areas of life. Can you explain those 9 areas of
Yeah,
life?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So let's do that now.
Yes.
And I started learning about this. Wow, I don't know, like a decade and a half ago. But for me, it helped me to kind of hold my life in one space, right? Instead of, oh, there's this aspect and that aspect, I can say, no, there are 9 aspects and I'm going to win in all of them. And so the first one is spiritual, right? So, for me, my faith and all of that stuff, for you, whatever that practice is for the listener. The second is family. Right. And some people are married and have kids and all of that stuff. Some people are not married, it's a relationship with their parents and siblings and all of that stuff. But whatever that looks like. The third is what I call legacy. And that is like, if you think about it, every day we get older, we're getting closer to the day we die. And one day we're not going to be here. And at the
That
end
is
of
so
your
deep.
life,
That is so deep.
but it's true, right? Like sometimes
Sure.
people say it's morbid. I'm like, but it's true,
It's
right?
true.
And so since you're heading there every single day, Why don't we want to decide what we would be known for, the impact we had, the legacy we're leaving as we go, and all of those things? Like, if you're 90, it's you don't have as much time to invest in that. But if you start thinking about this as an area of your life from your 20s, they have so much time to define what you want that legacy to be and then start working towards it, right? So that
Right.
would be the third area. And after that, you have health. Health falls in the category of not urgent but extremely important, right? Like, so you
Right.
can forget about, you don't walk, you eat wrong, you do all of those things. Again, your 90-year-old self is looking at you like tusk, like you are hurting us, like, right? So
Right.
you want what do you want your health habits to be? You want to eat clean, you want to lose weight, you just want to be compliant with your screenings. Like, there's so many goals that could be there, right? So your
Right.
health. Then there's your finances, which is separate from business, right? So personal finances. In a year, for instance, if we're setting goals, what do you want to give? What do you want to invest? What do you want to save? How much do you want to make? Like, these are all things that you want to define. That's the purpose of having these 9 years. So you can define what is the dream, right? When someone says my dream life, that you can't capture that. It's just too much. If you
It's too
break it down,
wide,
you're
it's too
like,
broad, but when
it's
you
too
break it down,
broad.
it's easier to measure.
Exactly, right? Okay, so we have that piece. We have finances, and we have social capital. And social capital is so important because this is more important than financial capital. There are many places that humans will get you into that no amount of money can get you into,
For
right?
sure.
And so relationships, like, what kind of mentors do you want to have? What kind of colleagues do you want to have? What kind of mentees do you want to have? What, like, all of these things. What kind of friends do you want to have? Like, a simple goal for social capital is like, I want to have this really, quality relationships, people that are considered my inner circle, and I want to have brunch with them once a month. Do you know how much richer your life would be if you had that, right? So anyway, so you have social capital. Then you have intellectual development. And you've heard me teach about this a lot. I am a big fan of a master skill, like, for instance, a master skill a year. What are the skills that you need to move forward in life? What are the most important skills you need? You define that, then that's an area of your life where you're like, this is what I'm working on. So this is different from school. This is not about school. This is
Right.
about life, right? Like, so for me, this year, my master skill that I worked on was persuasive speaking. I'm like, yes, I'm a speaker. Yes, I've spoken thousands of times, but if I sharpen that skill, it'll make every aspect of my life better, right? For somebody, I can't manage my time. Like, I don't have time for anything. Time mastery might be that thing for you. So it depends. There's no standard answer, right? Okay.
Right.
So that's intellectual development. And then after that, you have business or career or academics or any combination of those, right? And so for many people, this is their whole life. Right? Like, so the other 8 areas are missing. So this
Right.
is their whole life, but this is just one aspect,
It
right?
is one
Okay,
aspect.
yeah. So what do I want my business to look like? How many people do I want it to serve? How much revenue do we want to generate? What kind of team do I want to have for my career? What promotion? People are so amused when I talk with them. They're like, hi, doctor. I'm like, hi, how are you? They meet up, we do all of that stuff. So how's work? Is great. So what's next? They're like, nothing. What do you mean? What's next? There's a ladder. Where are we going? Right? Because progress is normal for humans, right? So career, what do we want that to look like? Academics, like, what do we want our grades to be like? What, prizes do we want to win? Whatever that is. So that's 8, right? That's 8 out of the 9 areas.
Right.
The ninth area, I added that. So when I started studying about the areas of life, I studied 8, but I was like, I am so type A that we have to add this as an area of life, and that's fun, right? Like, because I love what I do so much that, I'm like, fun. What are we doing that
It's
for,
kind of
right?
like fun to you.
It's like, I don't know. So what vacations do you want to go? This big world that God created, like, where do you
Yeah.
want to go visit?
So,
Right? What kind of memories do you want to have with your family? And it doesn't have to be a big vacation.
no,
Like,
it
it could
doesn't.
legit be, yeah, it could be fun stuff you want to do. You live in a city, you've never been to places there, you want to go there, whatever it is, right? So those are the 9 areas. And so, like I said, you can have a lot of hats when you think about it that way, and it's okay. You know what I
It's
mean?
okay.
Like, it's
Yes.
okay. So instead of thinking of one box, there are 9 boxes, and the 9 boxes have sub boxes. So it's just like, just be you.
I reached out to my community and then I asked them for questions to ask you. So
Wow,
this, yes,
I like this. Let's do it.
yes, yes. So that's what I did, and these are people from different backgrounds. One of them, she is a vice president of a bank. Another, she's like an IT specialist. Another, some are in medicine, just like very wide range. Some asked like, because but before I ask those questions, just so my listeners know why people are asking all these questions, asking spiritual questions. So, can you tell us about some of the things that you do? I know I kind of talked about it, but if you can tell, you can tell it better than I can.
Wow, I do a lot of things. I have a lot of boxes, if you will. So I am a wife. I've been married for 19 years. I have four children. They are 17, 15, 11, and 10, and I homeschool them. And we can talk about that separately if you want. So I homeschool them. I am a pediatrician by training, but at this stage, from a clinical perspective, I'm retired. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run five companies in different industries. The company that I spend the most of my time on is EntreMD, and EntreMD is a company set up to help physicians build profitable seven and multiple seven-figure businesses, so they have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on their terms. That company has been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies for 3 years in a row. I am, thank you. I'm a podcaster, so top 1% global podcast. We have multiple podcasters. I'm a YouTuber as well. Our YouTube channel just hit 1 million views in 18 months, which was like so cool. I pastor a church with my husband. We have done that for, I cannot count how many years, over a decade and a half. So it's been a long time. I host a daily prayer call that I started in 2020, so right at the start of the pandemic, 2 months after the pandemic was announced. So that has run for 5.5 years at the time of this recording, which is like completely wild to me. We've had as many as 1,500 people on that call. It's been amazing. I'm also an author. I've written, from a business perspective, 5 books, which have all been bestsellers. Working on a sixth one now, and I could keep going, but I'm at 10, so I think I can stop here. I own all my boxes. Okay, I
You
own
should.
all of them.
It's yours. Yes, yes, yes. And you see why. You see why she's my mentor. Um,
Yeah, it's a lot of
oh,
stuff.
so this question was not part of the questions that they asked me to ask you, but this is mine. Is how do you find the time to do all of this? How do you stay grounded?
Yeah. Well, so grounded, I think, there are two big pieces to that. One part is my faith, in the sense that I check in, like I have times, prayer, meditation, all of those kind of things, which is a very grounding, centering thing that I do every day. Like, so it's a habit that I have every day. And then I lean on my family. You know what I mean? Like, so yes, there are all these things and all this stuff, but there's God and there's my family, and this is like my anchor, and then everything else comes out from that. And so that's why in the midst of all of this, I don't seem frazzled. I don't seem like I'm in a hustle. I don't, like it's just something very, very grounded about it. In fact, I think you've heard me say this, Dr. Gloria, before, but when I turned 43 or so, I was like, oh man, I have to start doing strength training and all these things the doctors say we should do. And I would walk every day. I would take a 1 hour walk every day, and that is my time: prayer, meditation, thinking, visualizing, doing, like, just me. It's just me. And I said, well, this is exercise, so I'm gonna take this spot where I used to do that walk, and I'm gonna start lifting weights. So at that time, I'd go to the gym, all that stuff. And after a month or two, and this is in retrospect because I didn't understand what was happening, I started feeling frantic. I started feeling like, oh, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and you're missing out time, or you're wasting time, and you don't have enough time to. I was like, what is it? Like, I don't do this. I don't understand what this is. Whatever this is, I don't do it. It took me almost 5 months
Whoa.
to figure out what happened. Was the thing that grounds you the most, you replaced it with lifting weights in a gym, grunting, and all of this stuff. Like, it's not the same thing. And so I was like, I will have to figure out another way to build muscles, but this time spot that I use for this is what is going to happen. So I stopped that. I went back to my routine. And within a week, I was back to peace and calm in the midst
Oh,
of all the things, right? And so it's a very powerful thing I don't, it's a non-negotiable for me. Okay. So even with my family, like we don't all eat at the table. We're kind of snackers. We're interesting kind of family. But Monday, we have family dinner. We get together, we check in with each other, we laugh, we do all that stuff. It's like a lot of fun. Every Tuesday, date night with my husband. Is not to talk shop, is not to do anything. We're checking with ourselves, we're just having fun, enjoying our relationship. So these are very grounding things that I do. So internally, I have peace, right? In the midst of all of these things, because every one of those things that I listed have challenges that are associated with them.
Of
Then, as
course.
far as like the core thing that has expanded my time that I can do all those things, I will give you three things. The first thing is I have a lot of teams. I delegate. Like one of my master skills is delegation, right? And so for now, for instance, now if I had to take on a new project, before I even say yes to the project, I find the arrowhead for the project because it's not going to be me.
Mm,
That's how good I am at delegate. So
wow.
I delegate, and I don't delegate in my businesses. I delegate in my life. So my businesses at home, all those things. I'm not recommending this. I don't cook. I don't clean. I don't do laundry. I don't shop. I don't do any of those things, because you either do that or you run
Mm,
the five companies. You cannot have both. You
right.
see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like so
Right.
so I delegate like crazy.
So what I hear you say is you don't do activities that don't move the needle in the direction where you're going.
Well, they may even move the needle, but there's somebody else in my world that can do it. I won't touch it. Not with the 10-foot pole. Right? Because I only have 24 hours and there's no way to
Correct.
get more than 24 hours except you
Yes.
buy the 24 hours of other people.
because
Right?
because some people they say, oh well, I want to cook at the same time, I want to do this, I want to do that. They want to do so many things at the same time, but it's not possible because
It's,
you have 24 hours in a day. So, and then you're a human, you're going to get tired at some point and your productivity is going to go down. So if you're trying to pull in everything together, it's almost impossible to be a high achiever.
yeah, I mean, it's impossible. I will say this though, right? Like in the beginning, it's kind of challenging because in the beginning, I
You
was
have
like,
the
what do you mean?
resources.
Like, who can cook? If I like, what are you talking about? As I say, it sounds so weird. Like, you cook? What are we doing? But anyway, but this is the thing. I will also say, for some people, cooking brings them joy.
Right.
It's kind of right. Like, so if it's something that brings you joy, by all means do it. But if it
Right.
does not, get rid of it. It does not bring me joy. So I got rid of it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
delegation is a huge piece of that. And the second thing is I am relentless, ruthless about looking for the things like you described that move the needle the most. And I live there. The thing with those things is they're usually uncomfortable. They're usually things you don't want to do. They're usually high stakes, high risk. But if you get in the habit of doing them, you can accomplish so much more by doing a lot less. So I'm always looking like, what is the highest level work I can do? It's uncomfortable. I don't care. Because if even if it's uncomfortable and I do it, it means
Yeah.
that I can do two things in a day with more impact than someone who did 25 things in a day.
That's right.
So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's just wisdom. That's just wisdom. Let me move the conversation now to my Q&A, which
Okay.
I'm not used to Q&As because I would
Well,
just
here
have.
we are.
Yes, I get yes, I'm on a mission here. So 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 this question was asked. There's a way the person asked the question, but I'm going to paraphrase that question. So, anybody who has created something in life, whether you're Christian, you're not Christian, you're Muslim, whatever your faith is, your religion or your spirituality is, you have some degree of faith for you to have created anything bigger than yourself. And so this person was asking this question was is that so they've done all they know to do, and and they're not seeing the results that they desire. So what do they do at that point in time? It was more like, the word she used was having done all she knows to do, and then she's standing. What else can she do? I said, all right, I'll bring it to Dr. Una.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really great question. I think for me, the starting point is I never accept that I've done everything I can do. I never accept that. My approach is more so, what am I missing?
Doing
What
that
am I
curiosity.
missing?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've done what I can done. There's a finality to it. So that means I'm stuck. This is where I am.
There's
There's
no way
nothing else that can
forward.
be done. Yeah, exactly. But when I approach it with like, what am I missing? then there's opportunity for maybe me to have conversation with somebody, and in that conversation I'm like, that's what I'm missing. Or I'm reading something like, that's the key, that's what I'm missing. So it turns me into this exploration mode as
Yes,
opposed to I'm stuck mode. And it's not like it's just a way of thinking because I chose that way. The truth of the matter is we always know less than we know. The
of
things we
course.
don't know are a gazillion times more than the things that we do know. For
Yeah,
instance, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Fine. So is Mark Cuban, and he owns hundreds of companies, right? And so there are things that are a challenge in my business that he would look at it and say, "Are you serious?
I
Like,
get it.
do X." And with that X, everything is resolved. So we have to understand when we find ourselves in positions like, it's like, what am I missing? What
Yes,
is something that is what is a way of thinking that if I had, it will turn this around? What is an action that will turn this around? Who is a person that if that person was introduced in my life would turn it around? Like, you have to start asking those questions and stand, right? Like this is gonna work. We're gonna come out on top and all of these things. Like, you hold that faith, but at the same time, you're like, where am I missing? What am I missing? What could I learn? Right? Like, for instance, I can have like a revenue target I'm trying to hit in my business, and I tried for 2 years and I didn't hit it. I don't say, well, I've done everything. It's not possible that I've done everything. This is not a possible thing. I start looking for, okay, the people who are running businesses at that level, how do they think? How do they act? Who in my world is at that level so I can ask them questions, or they can connect me to someone at that level? Has someone at that level written a book that I can read so I can see what I'm missing, because I must be missing something?
something. You
Yeah.
know what? That's so true, Dr. Una, because real life story. This was my experience. Like in the last 6 months, I had this business idea that I was trying to flesh out. I was just trying to. I was struggling, but I knew I didn't have the answers, and for a long time I was trying to figure it out myself. I was researching. I would reach out to companies that had the data set that I needed. They would tell me I can't use it. I just kept going. Then it was I belong to a mastermind. It's called Entre MD Business School, and then that's Dr. Una's business school for physicians. And then one day we had breakout sessions, and I was in the same group with about three or four other ladies, and I told them what the issue. They're like, "Oh, that's easy. All you have to do is this." And I'm like, "I've been struggling with this for six
Yep.
months," but I was there, and they were like, "Oh, that's easy." So I knew something. If I had taken the position that, oh, I've done all there is to do, I would not have brought my question to the group, and I would not have the answer. And that's right. I don't ever, because sometimes, because I coach as well, and some people would say, well, I've done all there is to do. I'm like, so this is how you think your life is going to end? So that if you've done all there is to do, then that's, so this is your life, right? And they're like, oh, no, no, this is not my life. I'm like, yes, that means we haven't done all there is to do. We've done all we know to do.
Correct.
And I give you grace for that. You've done all you know to do, but that's not all there is to do. You're right, Dr. Ona.
And you
Always.
said
As
something
usual.
very powerful that I hope nobody missed, is that you were willing to ask for help.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the thing is that after a certain stage in business or whatever, we either feel, if I ask people, kind of look at me funny and go like, I thought you had it together, or we think asking means we don't have it together. Let me help everybody. We don't have it together.
No.
Okay. We,
Oh,
like, in that sense, like, not as a not as a whole, like, I'm done. We're not done. And
yeah.
the people that are around you, sometimes they're like gifts to you, right?
Of
They have
course.
things on the inside of them that could help you, but if they do
Yes.
not know what you need, they cannot
There's no
help
way they
you.
can help you.
They can't
Yes.
help you. So that's powerful that you share that.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. I'll move on to the next question. So when I moved, because I was born in Nigeria, I did my med school and then moved to the US about 14, 15 years ago. And when I moved to the US, something that stood out to me was how Americans spoke. Americans are very positive. So how was your day? Awesome. And we had, because I moved to the US for school, and we had this professor. His name was Wolfie. We go like, oh, Wolfie is just super cool. He's wonderful. He's amazing. And I'm like, those are words I would not normally use for people, but I love it because words are very powerful to me, because I could be having a bad day, and then the words I speak can just begin to reshape my day. So what are your thoughts about words and how we can use words to shape our lives?
Oh
Even
man,
as
words.
people who are not very spiritual, because,
Yeah, words are
whatever, yes.
everything. Words, think about it this way, right? If you and I started talking about your favorite restaurant and the meal you love to eat there and all of that stuff, guess what's going to happen to everybody on here? They're going to
I'm gonna
become
be
hungry.
hungry.
Everybody's going to be hungry, right? So words are like directors, if you will.
Mm,
And if we start looking at it that way, a number of things would happen. So for instance, if somebody around me is talking about how businesses don't work, how business is hard, and all of those things, let me tell you what will happen. I will change the topic. I would
mm,
rather talk about the weather than talk about that with you, because what is going to happen to me is I am going to start expecting that like is shifting my expectation. And if it shifts my expectation, my business start looking like your business, and I don't want it.
right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, it then directs who you allow in your world.
Mm,
If you have, like, it's January 1st, you have all these goals for the year and all this stuff, and you have somebody who's like, why are you even trying? You're already so successful. What are you trying to do? I can't have those words around me. Like, it's so dangerous and it's so expensive. It will cost me my goals. I'm not going
right.
to be around that. Right.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is it also, then how do I speak about myself?
Hmm.
Oh, I always procrastinate. I'm no good at this. I'm not. Those are words you will never hear me say, because at the end of the day, your life will be a reflection of what you say about it, because
Right.
you are going to act consistently with what you say. Right. So you're not going to say, I'm not good at business, and then get up and dominate on stage and get
No,
up and
it's not
market your
possible.
stuff. Like, you're not going to do it. You're going to
No.
act in a way that's consistent with what you say.
Right.
So what I say about myself is now controlled. I say, okay, what are my goals? Where am I trying to go? The person who accomplishes that, what kind of person is that? Then I
Mm,
start identifying as that kind of person. I start talking to myself like that kind of person. I start describing myself as that person. People talk about affirmations, I am statements, all of those things. And they're powerful, right? Because if you tell yourself every day, I'm confident, right? I'm a master at managing my time, right? I attract A-level people. I attract crowds. I do all of this stuff. It's only a matter of time before you start believing those things, right?
right.
And then I think the third is really the people in your life. You use your words intentionally, like a wordsmith, right? To make their lives better, right? You
Mm,
tell your kid, I believe in you, and you tell your kid, you little monster, those two kids are going to
mm,
turn out different.
different.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same thing with your staff. It's the same thing with your clients. I'm in the middle of a workshop, right? Like at the time of this recording, and we call it the 7-figure leap. We're like, if you want to hit your first or next 7 figures in revenue, let's talk about this. And on the first day, we talked about all the fears and mindset drama, all those things that come up. And to hear the people who attended it walk away going like, I'm a 7-figure CEO. What did
Whoa.
that? It's words.
Words.
That's what it's words. Like, tell this is who you can be. Sharing stories of, look at these 10 other people. That's how they turned into this. It's giving your own story. Oh, it's words. And at the end of the day, somebody who was like, oh, I'm not that kind of person. I could never do that. They're not like, I'm a 7-figure CEO. And the actions I'm going to need to take are uncomfortable. But this is the thing. There's no greatness without discomfort. What is that?
Mm,
What created that? Words. Like my
words.
comfort zone. That's where all dreams go to die. And if I stay in the comfort zone, I'm only going to have the status quo. What made somebody in 1 hour go from, oh, I don't know, all this stuff to this person? It's words,
Words.
right? So words are very powerful. It's not like air is just going away. No, every word, if you think this way, it would change your life. Every word has impact. So when you say something, before you say it, you test it and you're like, do I want this to reflect in my life? Do I
Mm,
want this to reflect in my kid's life? Do I want this to reflect in my client's life? If you don't, keep it. It's not dangerous till you say
mm.
it. Right? And so you want to control what you say. It's very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So let me go on to the next question. Let me see which question am I gonna ask you?
Take your pick. It seems like you have options.
I'm having so much fun. Okay. So were there moments in your journey, just building this life that you've done with your family, that you question whether you could balance it all, and they said, how did you overcome those thoughts of not being able to balance everything? I know you kind of touched on it before, how you keep yourself grounded in meditation and prayers and then scheduling things with your family, but this person had that specific question and I wanted to honor that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a great question. So I think I want to start off by saying, just because I don't give anybody the wrong idea. Um, when I started this journey, I started off as a socially awkward, super shy, introverted introvert. When I started this journey, it did not cross my mind to own a business. When I started this journey, I did not think that I would homeschool my kids. When I started this journey, if that version of me saw this version of me, should have been like, wow, that person is amazing. There's no way I would have thought that that would ever be me. And I say that because sometimes, I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I've probably been actively chasing personal development for 20. That's 2 decades. That's a long time. And so sometimes at this stage of the journey, it looks like, oh, I could never attain something like that. But it's not true. These are things that are built brick by brick, layer upon layer. And at every season, you're working your best. Then you learn new strategies and then you make it even better. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
When we started my practice, so this is 15 years ago, this is the way my life looked. Okay. I'd been married for, I don't remember how many years, but maybe 3 or 4 years or something like that. I had two children. One was 2 and one was 3 months old.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. We had just moved to a new state. I did my training in New Jersey and then we moved to Georgia. So we started the practice. I had not been in the US long enough. So I was born here, but I went back when I was 6 or so and did not come back to after medical school. So technically, I grew up in Nigeria. I didn't grow up here. And so I hadn't been back long enough. So I did not qualify for a loan. So starting my practice, I had to self-fund, which means I was working 20-hour weeks at the urgent care to make the money to fund the practice. Okay. So we're still going. I'm not done yet. And at the same time, my husband and I, we planted a church. Okay. And if you don't know anything about new church plants, when you first plant the church, that means you clean, you project the slides, you do everything. Like everything in the church is you are the children's ministry, you are everything. So the question then becomes, how do you balance it all, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So at this time, I didn't have the skill. Remember, we talked about all these 9 areas of life, and one of them is intellectual development. I didn't have the skill of delegation. I didn't understand that at all. And so the biggest lesson I had to learn then is, how do I get things off my plate? How do I recruit team members? How do I recruit volunteers? How do I recruit my family? Because your family is part of your team. How do I recruit my family to help me? It took me a minute, and a minute being maybe a year, to learn the lesson so that I could come to a new level of peace, right? Like, okay, I think I have this under control. But guess what happens? Then you get more things to do. And then
Mm.
so your new level of control experiences chaos, because like the systems I built to allow balance at this level, they don't work anymore. Right. Because at
Right.
that time I had one company and that company was just growing. And at that time, the church was just growing. But the church got bigger. The company got bigger. Our family got bigger. I have 4 kids. I had 2 at the time. Right. And so everything got bigger. So the things you used to achieve balance before won't work anymore. You got to go back
Right.
to school. And you're like, okay, how do we achieve balance at this level? So I say that to say, we don't achieve it
Mm.
once. It is a progressive journey, and we get better and better at delegation, better and better at building teams, better and better at saying no. This beautiful word called no, building boundaries, right? And all these things. So you just keep getting better and better, and you keep managing your balance. It's a balancing act. But if you come to terms with the fact that you don't arrive with it, and actually don't arrive with anything, if you come to terms with it, then every time it seems like it's out of order, you don't fall out of shape. You're just like, huh, what do I need to learn here? What do I
This
need to learn? What do I need to switch? And it's not an issue. You see what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
that's it. But rather than give you like this is how you do it, the truth of the matter is
you keep
something you're going to
finding
keep at.
balance at every
Yeah,
phase in life. You find
yeah,
your new balance, and
yeah,
then you get out of balance once you take on more responsibilities, and you
yeah,
find new balance, and you
yeah.
just keep finding it as you
You
move
keep
on in
finding
life.
it. So every time your life gets better, the systems will break.
Yeah.
Right? So you acquire a new company, systems break. You have a new kid, systems break. You have a new, you know what I mean? Your schedule changes, systems break. And it's not, you see me saying that smiling, it's not a problem. It's just for you to recognize it so you can even get good where you start anticipating it.
See
In
that
two months,
you
this is
think
what
that
is going to happen.
will happen? I was gonna
So
ask you
why
if
don't we
you
get
now.
ready? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was gonna ask. I'm sure that you're not at the point where you can anticipate what needs to be
Yes.
done. So before you fall out of balance, you're already creating the structure that would hold you as you're going up.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that was so good.
That was a good question.
No, yeah. So let me go on to the next one. So this question was asked by someone in medical school, but I think I'm going to ask it in a way that it would benefit everybody because people who listen to my podcast are not just doctors; they are people from all walks of life. So the question was: most doctors are trained to think in a linear form, but not all doctors. People professionally, when they go to school, if you are trained to be an engineer, you're trained to think like one. If you're a doctor, you're trained to think like one. If you're an architect, you're trained to think like one. But what do you think schools are missing in the education? What part could they do a little bit different? So once people get out of school, they are more grounded to face the real world.
Yeah, I don't even know if we can put it on the schools to deliver that. So let's just say what's missing with education, period. And we take
Yes,
ownership, right? Like,
we take
because
yes,
if we wait for the schools, I don't know,
yeah,
and they're doing their best. They make doctors and engineers and
yeah.
lawyers. I think they're
I
trying their
think that
best, right?
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So this is the way I look at it. And I teach this model to physicians, but it's the same model. Okay. When I think about my medical education, when you think about, I mean, like this is one of the best educations in the world. I didn't get you ready for life, right? Okay, so I think of you, the doctor, and we shouldn't. I am not one to downplay your education. I'm like, I think that's powerful. I think it's a great thing we have, but that's like you, the technician,
Mm.
right? That is only one part of your education. You are responsible for the rest.
You
That
know
is
what,
one.
Dr.
So
Una, do you mind if I add something real quick? And you know
yes,
what? I've never thought of it like this before, but as you were saying it, it just hit me as an epiphany. That's just one part of the 9 areas of life.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, need education in all 9 areas. You see what I'm saying? Like, is yeah, yeah. So, so this is you, the technician, right? Whether
Yes.
you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're whatever it is. Like that's one part of it. Okay, I like to think of it as that's one game, right? Now, that
One
game, the thing with that game is that there's a cap, right? Whatever your salary is, that's the cap. Whatever you're trained to do, that's all you can do. It's great, but it's a game. Okay.
game.
Now, there is another game you can play, and that is you, the entrepreneur. Okay. Now, when you
Yeah.
think about you, the entrepreneur, sometimes people are like, but I'm not a business person. I'm like, just embrace the thought. Okay. Because this is not about starting a business. It's about being an entrepreneur, which means even if you worked a job like you, Dr. Gloria, you talk to people about negotiation strategy, and you have helped people get deals as employment contracts that they would never have otherwise. It takes a different kind of thinking. That's an entrepreneur's mindset, even if you're working a job,
Right.
right? So there's you, the technician, you, the entrepreneur, whether you're working a job and you're negotiating better rates, or you're working a job and you're building a personal brand that you can monetize, or you have an actual brick and mortar, what people consider a business, or you're an online entrepreneur. The thing about that game is the cap goes away. Now you can earn whatever you want, right? And you can have whatever kind of impact you want. Like as a physician in the exam room, I would see 20 patients a day. I see 20 patients a day, 260 days a year. That's what I would do. As an entrepreneur, I mean, like, I talk to thousands, right? Like thousands and thousands of people. I can decide, and I did not, I can decide, this is what I decided. I'm going to live a life of global impact. I'm going to live a life that touches the whole world. Like, and technician, you can't do that. As an entrepreneur, you can. You can
Right.
decide, 10 million is a nice looking number to me. That's what I want to do. And so we need to come here and then learn those skills. The school is not going to teach it to us. Even business skills, business schools, many of them don't teach entrepreneurial skills. They teach you how to get CEO jobs, and they tell you, oh,
Right.
you people who graduate from our program, they typically make six figures. I'm like, what? Right? Okay. So whether it's from the CEO yourself, time management, all of those things, building teams, marketing, all of those things, it is available to everybody, and we can learn.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
So that's the
yeah.
second game. So this is the entrepreneur game. The third game you can play, and each game has higher rewards. The third game you can play is what I call empire games. Now you're talking about, now my
Ooh.
money's making money. The money I
I
pull
like
from the
that game. I
technician
like
and the
that
empire
game.
and the entrepreneurial stuff. Now they're making money babies. My babies are making money babies, right? And you invest. You can learn these things. You invest, whether that is in stocks, whether it's in real estate like you do, or whether it's in acquisition of businesses or whatever. I mean, like, guy, like, when you think of your development career wise, if you will, as technician, entrepreneur, empire builder, when you think in those three terms, you have no limits, no caps. It doesn't matter who taught you what and who didn't teach you what and whatever. You are in control,
Roll.
right? And so that's the way and I don't look to schools to do that. Like, if you think about your professors and all that, they probably cannot give you that, right?
No.
So this is more about you acquiring the education. But the thing is that it's an education, and it will cost you to get the education. Some of it will be books, some of it will be podcasts, some of it will be programs you have to sign up for, mentorship you have to pay for, all of those things. But this is the framework you're following to have this full, big, rich. And when I say rich, I don't necessarily mean only money. It includes money, but not just money. But I mean, I don't know about you, Dr. Gloria. Like, when I think a lot about my 90th birthday party. I started moving it to 100. I don't know, but I think a lot about my 90th birthday party. And it would be nice to make a lot of money. It would be nice to do that. But let me tell you what will be nicer. And I'm not
Yeah.
excluding the money. I like to say this because some people, I just want to help people. I don't want to make money. I'm like, those two things go together. They're cousins. Okay. Okay. So I would like to have become the best version of myself. So why
Hmm.
wouldn't I develop myself to become the best version of myself? So I can be the greatest tool I can be to do what only I can do. Right.
Yeah.
So that so
Yeah.
so I spend a ridiculous amount of time fine tuning and editing myself and upgrading myself and all, because I'm the weapon, right? Like, I'm the tool. Okay. So I want to have become all I can be. I want to touch every life with my gifting, right? Like, so our giftings are different, right? I know who I am. I'm a catalyst. Like, I come in contact with you, those dreams on the inside of you, they're coming out of you and they're becoming real. Like that's my thing. That's my jam, right? In any company I function in, at the end of the day, that's what's happening. And so I would do every development possible to become that person, to do what that person does, and to have what that person has. Do you see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I'm not going to blame us. And I'm not saying this to say the medical students blaming the school. It's just that it is a narrative. And I just don't want to address that. I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me that education. Do you see what I'm saying? Medical school
Right.
promised me a certificate, and, like, I can now put on my stethoscope and legally take care of people. God bless them. Thank you very much. Right. But there's this whole entrepreneurial piece and this whole empire piece that is my responsibility. And I'm not
Disability.
delegating that, because
That's to
I'm
anyone.
not going to get to 90 and be excited. Well, I could have done that, but they didn't help me. I'm not taking that chance. Right. So
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So what I hear you say is, for whoever that person is, you just have to take, you have to be grateful, or, you have the education, take that. It's a gift, or it's not a gift, you've earned it. But at the same time, develop the other parts of your life that would give you that life that you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
1000%.
Yeah. So I think I'm running out of time, but while I'm looking at the other one, there's one question I just remember by heart. One person said, what book would you recommend? If there's just one book apart from the Bible, they were specific. You were like, apart from the Bible, what book would
They,
you
they,
recommend?
they know I'd say that's number one, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's one. Can I give you a few?
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do a few. Okay.
Okay.
So Eat That Frog, I'm sure this is no
Mhm.
surprise to you, is a powerful book because you pay attention to it, you learn goal setting, you learn prioritizing for time mastery, you learn delegation, you learn how to give up procrastination, like be gone, right? So it's a very, very, very powerful book, right? So that's one. The second one I would recommend is 10x is easier than 2x,
Oh, I love
because
that book.
they're connected in a way, right? Because it talks about the 20% activities, but it talks about dreaming big. Guys, this life is not the rehearsal. This is the life.
It
Right? Like this
is.
this is our one chance at it. And so it's kind of like go big or go home, right? Or go big or go home trying to go big. Like might as well do it big. And so that is a very, very, very powerful book. Um if you're an entrepreneur, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell is really good. So it helps you with, your time management and all of those things. Gosh, there's so many. If you I was a very moody person, okay? I used to be a very moody person.
I can't even
Um
believe that.
I know. Like every other day I wake up in a bed, like on the wrong side of my bed, right? We could do a whole podcast episode about that. But if that is ever a thing for you, where you just have many days where you're not happy, you're not, stuff like that, The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, that's a really good book to kind of help you have the right perspective, because your life is not going to change, you're going to change.
That's right.
That if you were going to go from very moody to very positive, it's not because your life changed, it's because you changed,
We
and that book
changed.
will help you change. So I could keep going because there's so many good ones, but yeah, let's do those five or so.
Then, so what advice would you give your younger self? So, like maybe
Oh
20,
man,
25
yeah,
years ago, what would you
yeah.
tell the younger
Ah,
version of you?
what would I tell younger me? I would tell younger me, there's no such thing as a glass ceiling. Like,
Mm,
dream big. Because
hmm,
what I would have dreamt as big as 20, like I did that like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like dream big. I'll say every challenge, I like to use the word challenge, people say problems. Every challenge you face, if you have the right attitude and you don't quit, it will end up being a thing that makes you the person required to live that big life. Like it will end
mm,
up working for you. So don't get
mm,
thrown off because you have challenges. Like just go like, how could this serve me? Right? Right? And stuff like that.
mm,
And I think the third thing I will tell myself is you are your most important asset. Just keep getting better.
mm.
You are like Play-Doh. You are not like a porcelain thing that's fixed. You're like
Fixed.
Play-Doh. You can keep changing. You can keep becoming. If you're like, man, if only I was like this, I could do that. Go like, then become it. Like acquire the skill, change the mindset. Like you can become. Because I was an introvert. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do all these things. I thought I was stuck. Stuck is not a thing. It is not a thing. You can become. You got me excited. But yeah, that's what I tell myself. I was like, girl, come on. Let's go.
What a way to start the year. What a way to start the year. So, what's your plan for the future?
Oh man. I so really my big things are over the next 12 months. How can I retool myself and become 10 times better, 10 times more capable, right? Acquire these new competencies. So the things that I couldn't do, I can do them. So that's a big thing for me. And then how can I help like 100 times more people? Because again, it's one life, right? And so
One.
these are like the two problems I'm solving for, if you will. When I say problem, I mean like math equation. These are the things I'm solving. Like, how can I become 10 times more capable? How can I help 100 times more people? And my dreams are crazy and I'm owning them. For instance, one of my goals for 2026 is I want to help 1,000 physicians have their first or next seven figures in revenue, which is insane. Like, what in the world? Who does that? Right? But I'm like, yes. Okay. How are we going to do that? We're going to do this, that. Good. Let's go. Right. Like, so I'm just, yeah, it's,
Wow. Wow,
it's
wow.
fun. It's one life, man. It's the great experiment.
It's
Let's
one
go.
life. It's one life. We just have to
Yeah.
keep evolving
Yes.
so we
Yes.
can be all we're born to be.
Yes. 1,000%. Thousand
This
percent.
is I could listen to you forever, but I gotta let you go. There's still questions. I think the rest of my people they just have to make do with But you have a podcast. Where can my audience find you so they can go get the answers to the other questions?
Oh man. Okay, so you will direct the audience because there are many things, right? There are many boxes. That's where we started this
Yeah.
from. So I have a business podcast, if you will. I directly address physicians, but these are things that work with any entrepreneur. It's called the EntreMD podcast. So ENTREMD, EntreMD podcast. And you can find I talk shop there all day, every day. I have another podcast, or mostly on YouTube, which is for people of faith. But you decide, I want to be a person of faith who's really deep on my faith and really successful in life, right? Because a lot of times people think those two things don't go together, and it's called Success by the Book, and you can find it there. But yeah, but I'm on Facebook, Neka Una Chukwu. You will need the spelling; it will be in the show notes.
You could be
And
the
you can
show.
always, post ask questions and stuff like that. I'm always responding to people and serving my people. So yeah. Yeah.
Dr.una, thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Before I let you go, I'll do my call to action. So after each podcast, I would take wisdom from my guests and then ask my audience to go do it. Now I'm struggling. I'm like, what am I gonna tell? Which one am I gonna ask you guys to do?
Go for it.
How
I'm praying for you.
So I think what I want you guys to do, this is big. It's not the usual call to action that I say go do one thing. So what I want you to do, I would never have asked you to do this, but just based on this conversation, I want you to do it. Look for the 9 areas of life. Why don't you just write that out for yourself? Right. Your spiritual family. We'll have that written in the show notes. Have that written since it's a new year. Have that written for yourself, and then define how you want that to go, and use your words. We talked about words, how powerful words are. Use your words to describe how you want your life to go, and then maybe Dr. Una will do this again in a year, maybe.
Let's do it. If it, just for
Okay.
you want me in 6 months, we'll do it in 6 months, because this is the thing. You want to reset and finish the year strong, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I also want you guys to like this podcast, share with your friends. There's so much wisdom in here. And something else I want you to do is, if you have an event and you're looking for a speaker, I'm your person. Reach out to me. I'm here. I will rock your stage. I will bring wisdom, and I will bring words that will transform your lives. And then lastly, as I always leave you guys, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart, that you all have the potential to be great. So go be great. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Dr. Una.